But once he's in that ring, he has to fight like his life is dependent on it, because it will. Knock out. Who did he knock out? Little children. He didn't knock out, never knocked out a real man. Come on.
You, by the way.
Oh my goodness! What is going on?
Mike Tyson totally rips apart Jake Paul, and the whole world can't stop laughing at this problem child. Poor Jake is left throwing tantrums because, honestly, what else can he do? Mike exposed Jake's entire 4-year career like it was a series of well-organized but completely illegitimate stunts. None of Jake's fights have been genuine, but nobody called him out like Mike just did. And if you think Mike's trash talk is just random jabs like Jake's, you're dead wrong. Mike tore into Jake so hard he won't even find a spot for his graves. But seriously, don't you think Jake Paul brought this whole mess on himself? Oh, you don't know the backstory? Sit straight, let me tell you. So for the past 2 years, Jake Paul has been on a mission, and I mean a relentless mission, to get Mike Tyson into the ring. This wasn't just a casual, hey, let's fight scenario. Paul's efforts were borderline obsessive. He turned his social media into a full-on campaign, using every platform to challenge Tyson. I'm talking Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, Jake was there. Calling out Tyson like a kid begging for candy. Jake's strategy was a wild mix of desperation and bravado. He was like a digital-age Don Quixote, tilting at the windmill that is Mike Tyson. Every post, every tweet, every video was aimed at poking the bear, hoping to get a rise out of Tyson. Paul painted himself as the eager underdog, constantly tagging Tyson, taunting him, and basically trying every trick in the social media playbook to get a reaction.
Mikey, your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see.
And how did Mike Tyson respond? With 2 years of pure, unadulterated silence. Tyson didn't even blink. No responses, no acknowledgments, just radio silence. This only amped up the drama. The boxing world watched as Jake's antics got more and more intense, wondering if Tyson would ever bite. Then, out of the blue, Tyson finally agreed to the fight. The boxing world collectively lost its mind. The idea that Tyson, the legendary heavyweight champion, would actually step into the ring with a YouTuber-turned-boxer was something nobody saw coming. Despite Jake's relentless pestering, Tyson's agreement, though, came with zero fanfare from his end. While Jake was out there making a spectacle of himself, Tyson's acceptance was like a casual, "Oh, by the way, let's do this." The contrast couldn't have been more stark. On one side, you had Jake Paul, using every social media trick to stir up excitement. On the other side, you had Tyson, calm and composed, letting his history and reputation do all the talking.
One more.
Jake's social media exploded with activity, hyping the fight, keeping his audience on the edge of their seats. He played the role of the underdog to perfection, the daring newcomer ready to take on the giant. Meanwhile, Tyson's silence spoke volumes. It showcased a level of maturity and focus that Paul simply couldn't match. Tyson didn't need to boast or taunt. His legacy did all the talking. But seriously, Jake should have known that chasing after dirty fame would land him in this mess. I mean, come on, do you know what he's getting himself into? Mike Tyson's career is nothing short of legendary, spanning over 38 years and packed with moments that have solidified his status as one of the greatest boxers of all time. Tyson first burst onto the scene in 1986, becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history at just 20 years old. He didn't just win, he obliterated Trevor Berbick in the second round, kicking off his reign in the boxing world with a bang. Throughout his career, Tyson racked up an incredible record: 50 wins, 44 of them by knockout, and only 6 losses. His list of victims includes heavyweights like Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, and Frank Bruno. The 1988 fight against Spinks, Tyson knocked him out in just 91 seconds. An iconic moment etched in boxing history. Tyson earned the nickname Iron Mike for a reason. His sheer power and ferocity in the ring were unmatched. Joe explained Mike perfectly when he said,
Jake Paul would survive against the Mike Tyson that beat Marvis Frazier.
Even as he aged, Tyson's reputation as a beast in the ring didn't fade. In 2020, at the age of 54, he made a highly publicized return to boxing, fighting Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition match that, according to Joe, was fixed to save Roy Jones Jr.
pounds in his prime. He wasn't Mike Tyson size. Mike Tyson's enormous. He's just a different...
The bout ended in a draw, but Tyson's performance was a jaw-dropping testament to his enduring physical prowess and boxing skills. Maintaining such a high level of performance in his 50s? That's a rare feat in this sport. Tyson's unparalleled experience is matched by his extraordinary power and skill. Known for his explosive punching power, He could end fights with a single punch. His uppercuts and hooks were feared, often leaving opponents dazed and unable to continue. But Tyson wasn't just about raw power. His defensive skills, speed, and strategic acumen were equally remarkable. Under the tutelage of his legendary trainer, Cus D'Amato, Tyson mastered the peekaboo boxing style, allowing him to slip punches and counter with devastating force. Tyson's approach to the fight was not about underestimating Paul or taking the challenge lightly. It was about respecting the sport and honoring his own legacy. He trained with the seriousness and intensity of a fighter in his prime, proving that his spirit and dedication were as strong as ever. For Tyson, the fight with Paul was an opportunity to remind everyone of the power, skill, and heart that made him a legend in the first place. And for Joe, it was not just an exhibition, as he said.
I do not believe that's the case. I think this fight is going to be a real full-bore, 100% fight. It's not even an exhibition.
Seriously, would you risk your life for some dirty fame and a pile of cash against Mike Tyson? Any sensible person would shout a resounding no way. And Tyson has proven that Jake Paul made the absolute worst decision of his life. The press conference in May was nothing short of explosive. Held on May 15, 2024, it quickly became the talk of the boxing world. Cameras flashed, the media buzzed, and Mike Tyson took the stage with an intensity that left everyone in the room on edge. Jake Paul, known for his brash demeanor, was in for a rude awakening. Tyson wasted no time launching into a scathing critique of Paul. Right off the bat, he called out Paul's habit of picking fighters with far less experience. Tyson mocked him openly, saying, "This kid has been fighting nobodies. He picks guys who can't even lace up my gloves." The audience gasped and whispered, clearly taken aback by Tyson's directness. Tyson continued, tearing into Paul's lack of real competition.
Who did he knock out? Little children. He didn't never knocked out a real man. Come on.
Tyson's words cut deep, and Paul's struggle to maintain his composure was evident. The tension in the room was palpable as Tyson's criticisms kept coming. One of the most memorable moments from the press conference was when Tyson addressed Paul's inability to beat a legitimate fighter.
How you gonna knock me out? What's the other guy? Anderson Silva. He didn't get knocked those little guys. How you gonna knock me out?
Tyson's jab at Paul's fitness also put a dent in Paul's reputation as a boxer. While Paul has built a huge following and grabbed headlines with his fights, Tyson's critique suggested that his success might be more about showbiz than real boxing skill. Without the necessary physical conditioning, Tyson implied, Paul's potential in the sport is pretty limited. In the days following the explosive press conference, Jake Paul's frustration hit a boiling point. On May 20th, 2024, during a candid moment caught on camera, he was sitting with his brother Logan in what seemed like a laid-back setting. But things quickly took a turn for the chaotic. Jake, visibly agitated, started hurling bottles across the room, cursing and yelling like a kid who just found out Santa isn't real. The bottles clattered against the walls, and the sound of shattering glass underscored the tension in the air.
Yo, f you, by the way. Oh my goodness! What is going on?
Paul's emotional outburst was a crystal-clear sign that he couldn't handle the heat from all the criticism he'd faced. Since the press conference, social media had been a relentless roasting ground, with memes and harsh comments flying left and right. The pressure and public ridicule had clearly taken a toll. As Jake ranted, he let out his frustration with being mocked. "I can't take this anymore. Why do people have to talk about me like that?" he shouted, his voice cracking like a teenager's during a high school talent show. It was evident Jake had reached his breaking point. This tantrum wasn't just about the criticism, it was the cumulative pressure of living up to his own hype and the relentless scrutiny that came with it. Analyzing Paul's behavior, it became clear that his emotional instability reflected his unpreparedness for the fight with Tyson. The pressure of facing a legend, combined with the public's doubt about his abilities, had pushed Jake to the edge. The fallout from Paul's tantrum was immediate. On May 22, 2024, Jake Paul announced he was canceling the fight with Mike Tyson. This announcement sent shockwaves through the boxing community and beyond. The cancellation didn't just hit Paul's image, it reshaped the landscape of his boxing future. On the same day, it was revealed that Paul had decided to take on a new opponent, Mike Perry. Perry, a former UFC fighter with a respectable boxing record, was seen as a safer and more manageable challenge for Jake. The reasons behind this switch were crystal clear. Jake needed a fight that was within his reach, both physically and mentally.
Yeah,
The news is true, folks. I, Jake Paul, will be fighting Mike Perry.
The public's reaction to the cancellation was overwhelmingly negative. Many saw Paul's decision as an act of cowardice. Social media exploded with comments accusing Jake of backing down from a real challenge. Hashtags like Tasher Jake the Quitter and Dasher Paul bails out trended on Twitter. The memes kept coming, now focusing on Jake's apparent fear of Tyson. The sentiment was that Jake had talked a big game but failed to follow through when it counted. Tyson's reaction to the cancellation was characteristically stoic but pointed. He didn't let Jake off the hook easily. In a brief statement, Tyson said, "I understand the pressures of this sport, but if you're going to call yourself a fighter, you need to be ready to face anyone, anytime." Tyson's refusal to let Jake's decision slide easily suggested that he might seek a future confrontation, or at least hold Jake accountable in the court of public opinion. In the aftermath, Jake Paul's team scrambled to manage the PR crisis. They released statements emphasizing Jake's commitment to boxing and his desire to continue improving. Logan Paul, ever the supportive brother, posted a video defending Jake's decision and urging fans to understand the immense pressure he was under. Despite these efforts, the damage to Jake's reputation was done. The drama took a wild twist when Mike Tyson, determined not to let Paul off the hook, rescheduled the fight. On May 25, 2024, Tyson announced the bout would now take place on November 15, 2024.
Different date, same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Obviously, boxing isn't a one-man show. Paul couldn't just cancel the fight on a whim, especially after 2 years of build-up and sky-high public interest. Tyson made it abundantly clear that once you commit, you honor that commitment. Well, don't you agree that Jake totally deserved this epic roasting by Tyson? And who would have thought he'd start crying over it? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more boxing drama and updates. And hey, hit that like button too.